All right, everybody. Logan Alex, CPA here. It is expected that the House of Representatives will vote on the HEROES Act tomorrow, and it's expected that the bill will pass the House because the House is Democrat-controlled. And the HEROES Act basically has anything a Democrat could want right now in a relief package, including almost $1 trillion in state and local government funding. But as you know, any bill has to not only be passed by the House of Representatives, but also the Senate, which is currently Republican controlled, and it also has to be signed by the President, who is obviously a Republican, before it becomes law. And Republican Senator Lindsey Graham 2 days ago said the HEROES Act will be dead on arrival in the Senate. Donald Trump echoed the same sentiment yesterday, but Republican Representative Pete King of New York, who is in the House of Representatives, said he will vote yes on the HEROES Act. Now, Representative King voting yes on the HEROES Act isn't going to change anything legislatively. King is in the House, and the HEROES Act will pass the House regardless of his vote because the House is Democrat-controlled. They don't need his vote for it to pass. But why Pete King is voting yes on the HEROES Act is very, very interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if more GOP congresspeople feel the same way that he does. They may not break with the party line here as he will, but they might be feeling this way nonetheless. Now, Pete King is from New York's 2nd Congressional District, which covers a portion of the South Shore of Long Island and includes Nassau County. And this is a swing district. Its people voted for Trump in 2016, but he was the first Republican president that this district voted for in the presidential election since 1992. So that is interesting. And just to give some context, Nassau County has a population of approximately 1.4 million people, and it has reported over 2,000 COVID-19 deaths. That is more than the reported COVID-19 deaths that has been reported by the county where I live, Los Angeles County, with its population of over 10 million. So this county where Representative King is from has been extremely hard hit by the virus, and this is why he is voting in favor of the HEROES Act, because the HEROES Act, like I told you, includes almost $1 trillion in state and local funding. And a portion of this almost $1 trillion of funding, there's a portion of funding that goes to the states equally, there's a portion that goes based on population, and there's a portion that goes based on how hard a state has been hit by the coronavirus. Representative King said, New York is going to die. My county, Nassau County, Suffolk County is also in my district. Not only are they running up tremendous costs, their revenue losses are unbelievable. So while Pete might not be in favor of all of the, let's face it, fatten the bill, he's voting in the way that he feels is best for the people who voted for him to represent them. He is saying, as a Republican, mind you, that his district, his state, needs federal money because it has been absolutely wrecked by COVID-19. So that is why he is voting in favor of the HEROES Act. Here's more of what Representative King said. To me, it's a matter of survival. And I know maybe people are concerned about primaries or what party leadership is going to say, but the reality is you're elected to Congress to represent your district. And he said his district and New York itself have gotten screwed for so many years, so whenever he gets a chance to even the score, he's going to do it. Also influencing his decision, King said, is the elimination of the $10,000 cap on the state and local tax itemized deduction that's proposed by the HEROES Act. You'll recall that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, passed in late 2017, set a $10,000 limit on how much state and local taxes you can deduct as an itemized deduction on Schedule A. If your standard deduction, which was, by the way, significantly increased by the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, is more than your itemized deductions anyway, you don't care. But if your itemized deductions are greater, you certainly care about this. Now, previously, before 2018, when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act largely became effective, in 2017, if you paid during the year, for example, $8,000 in state income taxes and $5,000 in property taxes, and you itemize your deduction, you could claim an itemized deduction of that sum. $8,000 plus $5,000 is $13,000. But starting with tax year 2018, thanks to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, now you could only claim an itemized deduction for those particular items of only $10,000, even though you paid $13,000 for them. So who did this tax law change affect the worst? Those in high income states states because they pay a lot of state income tax, and New York State is the definition of a high income tax state, and obviously affected by this are states with high property values and relatively high effective property tax rates, which combined create a high property tax burden. And New York is certainly up there too when it comes to property taxes. It's not as crazy as its neighbor New Jersey, but New York property owners still pay a lot of property taxes because its effective property tax rate is relatively high, and because property values are high there as well. And the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act came along and said, oh, you can't deduct all those taxes you pay anymore, only up to $10,000. So obviously, this really affects those in states like New York, where Representative King is from. And the HEROES Act seeks to eliminate that $10,000 cap, so individuals who itemize deductions, like high-income New Yorkers in big houses on the South Shore of Long Island, can now deduct all those taxes as an itemized deduction. That is part of what the HEROES Act is proposing. And Representative King said that this factor is influencing his decision as well. Now, Representative King said that he realizes that the bill is dead on arrival in the Senate. But he said he's hopeful that Republicans will view this bill as a starting point for negotiations. Just like I told you yesterday, Republicans aren't opposed necessarily to another relief bill. They're just opposed to another relief bill right now, right this second, because they want to see what's going to happen with states reopening. And they're also opposed to a relief bill that includes things like, I don't know, $50 billion for environmental justice grants. That's just not up their alley, all right? So I'll leave you with this last thing that Representative King said. He said, I think the speaker is piling it in there, meaning kind of all the fluff that's in there, to keep our left-wing base happy. I'm against all that. But if that's the price I have to pay to get funding to keep New York and Nassau County and Suffolk County and New York City alive, then I'll do that. And a lot of it is going to come out in the Senate. So we know that at least one Republican in Congress supports this thing. That said, he is a Republican from a blue state. Do senators from red states that would proportionally get a lot less of the state and local funding in the bill really care? And of course, just from an election standpoint, does Trump care? Solid blue states like New York, which hasn't voted for a Republican since Ronald Reagan, aren't voting for Trump anyway. So I'll leave you with that. Hopefully it's some food for thought. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.